Going to the first slides, I would just like to introduce by saying that the EU has a general objective of protecting its own GIs in third countries at a good level of protection. So we, as it was already mentioned before in other presentations, we developed the GI system in particular for foods from 1992. And we have a GI system which is what we call TRIPS Plus. So it provides a level of protection and certain provisions which are at a higher standard than what the WTO TRIPS agreement provides. So the objective notably via, not only, but via free trade agreements that we have been negotiating, signing and implementing in the last few years, we seek to create the conditions in third countries which are for the GI producers from the EU, which are similar to the ones that we have at EU level. And what are in particular those conditions? A high level of protection of GIs beyond TRIPS. And this is, as it was mentioned in TRIPS, we have different levels, one for foods and the other for wines and spirits. And our objective is to have the same at a higher level for all the products. Reciprocal protection. Of course, we intend to protect our GIs, but the third country in question also intends to have its own GIs protected in the EU. And so the way to protect is via direct protection and with indefinite time lengths. And this is in contrast with the trademarks where you have you need to periodically renew the registrations. Another element that is very important for us is to ensure the principle of coexistence of GIs with prior trademarks which have been registered in good faith. So in negotiating a free trade agreement, in many situations, there are trademarks in the market which have conflicts with the GIs that the EU intends to protect. And we need to ensure that there can be a compatibility between these prior trademarks, which are registered in good faith, and the subsequent protection of the GI. And finally, and linked to the main topic of this seminar today, the issue of administrative enforcement. We in the EU have a GI system which is particularly aimed at producers which in many situations are not big or don't have many financial means. We want to stimulate rural development. We want to stimulate producer organizations. And so the need to go to court to enforce rights is, in our view, should not be the only way to achieve the enforcement. And so provisions on administrative enforcement, asking the authorities of the third country, as we do in the EU, to enforce the protection, remove the infringements from the market is very important for us. Currently, we have 36 agreements in force or concluded with the GI chapters, Vietnam, China. This was already referred, and we have concluded agreements still not in force with, for example, Mercosur. And we have 13 negotiations ongoing in the region, in the Asia-Pacific region, currently with Indonesia, New Zealand, and Australia. And of course, in the more medium term, we intend to have negotiations with ASEAN members. Now, particularly in relation to the Viet Nam FTA, in force since very recently, 1st of August, all these elements that I described beforehand are there in the agreement, and this was already well described by Dr. Nguyen. We have, as it was mentioned, 169 EU GIs, mostly wine, spirits, cheese, and on the other hand, the 39 Vietnamese GIs. You can see examples, as it was mentioned, also that they focus very much on fruits and vegetables. And also very interestingly and importantly for the future, the GI chapter or the GI provisions in the intellectual property rights chapter foresees a bilateral dialogue and technical cooperation between both parties, EU and Vietnam. And we hope to be able to have the first committees under the agreement now that it is in force sometime during the first half of next year, where we can discuss specific cases, lack of clarity, ongoing changes in the legislations of both sides. So very important in order to keep alive the spirit of the agreement is to be able to sit down and to have dialogues in this kind of formal settings. So overall, we think this is the agreement provides a very solid foundation for the enhancement, improvement of the EU-Viet Nam bilateral trade of quality products. Here you can see some of the names of EU GIs that have been protected in Vietnam via the agreement. They come from many different member states. They include some of the most symbolic, emblematic EU GI names. Here also some images of some of the products. And then for the rest of the presentation, I would just like to highlight why, how do we see the benefits of the EU GI system for the consumers in the EU, but this is, of course, it can also be very much the case in third countries and notably in the case of Vietnam. So why is it important, this system for consumers? The UGI system provides the guarantees on the origin and the quality via, in some cases, very precise and comprehensive specification, the books of specifications, and also on the authenticity of the products. So when a consumer goes to a supermarket and it sees the logo and it sees the name, it should trust that this is an original quality product with a history. So the unique character of these products, and in many cases the centuries of tradition and cultural heritage that are behind, they are all benefits for the consumer. There are products, despite the fact that the UGI system is there since 1992. In certain member states, the production of these products and the national rules, they proceed for many decades, and maybe in some cases centuries, this EU GI system. Again, the controls on the production site and on the market that are mentioned, that were very well explained by the two first presentations in this seminar. This is also an assurance that the consumer then will be consuming the real thing. And overall, this also provides a way to prevent the standardization of products by highlighting so much sometimes local products, regional products, and ensuring that there is economic viability for these products. We're also contributing to prevent that the products in the market are, let's say, all the same, and that there is diversity, and the diversity is very valued by the consumers in contemporary societies. Here, there are some results of a Eurobarometer survey. It's a survey that we conduct with European consumers regularly. This is from 2018, and to the question, how important are certain factors in the decision to buy food products? We can see that factors like respect of local tradition and know-how, specific label ensuring the quality of the products, or that the products come from a geographical area that the consumer knows, they are all very important or fairly important factors in food consumption. And among the labels at EU level that are most recognized, the first, usually it's organic by the consumers, it's organic farming, followed by fair trade, but just after the logos for PDO and PGI, which are the ones that are used in Europe, they are among the most recognized. So this is since 1992, this has been growing, this policy and the awareness of the consumers, and it's becoming more and more important for the EU consumers. For the producers, what is in it? Well, the GI name is reserved for products complying with the specification and coming from a specific geographical area. So it is a way to protect local value at a global level, given that many of the products that are covered by the GI system in Europe, they are also exported around 20% at least. And the GI name is not reserved for one single producer, but can be used by all producers in a production area. So it's not a private, again, it's a collective intellectual property right. And all the producers that are respecting the specifications in that geographical area should be able to use the name. Again, the issue of administrative protection and all this construction is aimed also at ensuring a better price for the sale of these products for the producers. A final element of benefit is that the organization of farmers in producer groups, which is one of the reasons why the system was actually came to be to exist, allows or gives the opportunity for a stronger position of farmers and first processors, small and medium enterprises in the agri-food supply chain, and vis-a-vis retailers and larger processors. So the retention of value added, and this issue of the value premium associated to the use of GIs has been confirmed by several studies, including studies at EU level. But here in this slide, you can see an example of a study that was conducted by the FAO and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development back in 2018, which studied several products, GI products in different continents, and came to this conclusion of a premium between 20 and 50% when comparing specific GIs which have a certain reputation and the basic commodity which it can be compared to in the same regions. So some economic figures: EU GIs total sale value 75 billion euros in 2017, more or less close to 7% of the total EU food and drink sector. GI exports to non-EU countries around 17 billion euros in 2017, around 15% of EU total food and drink exports, but in the case of wines and spirits is much higher, 89%. And in terms of sales destinations, around 58% of all the sales of GIs take place in the member states of origin of the product, 20% in other member states within the European Union market, and around 22% go to third countries.